Good afternoon, this is Catherine. It's a little after 2 p.m. on Sunday the... goodness, what is it? Is it the 17th of February 2018? I apologise in advance for the wind noise, but we're about 50 metres from the... probably about 50 metres from the high tide mark here, right by the beach here, Sumner, Christchurch, New Zealand. Here's a shot of a Norfolk Island pine tree. Obviously they are native to Norfolk Island, which is about, 1,500 miles or 2,500 kilometres north of here, maybe even a bit more than that. A subtropical to tropical climate. So they are at the outside edge of the comfort zone here, but they'll take 100% seafront exposure. So this is an unadulterated one, as in it hasn't been fucked up the arsehole by some bastard. And we're just going to rotate the camera and cross the road here. There's a smaller one. It does look like it's had a bit of a hack job too. And we'll keep rotating round. So this is a cafe that's owned by somebody, but the tenant is somebody else who does the business. And the other day, even though it's on council land and it's a protected tree, well, it's non-native, but it's 100 years old, just under 100 years old. They said 90 years old. The landlord told the guy from the cafe, went out there with a saw, I don't know who supplied the saw, and to hack off about 2/3 of its branches. So obviously the council weren't very happy. Now a tree like this, the growth habit of a Norfolk Island pine, or a Coria, or possibly Excelsior from memory, it will never replace the lower branches. Some trees do, some trees don't. These will never, not just a long time, it will never. A tree like this is basically irreplaceable. If you did want to replace it, given that to transplant a large palm tree does require, crane and trucks and that kind of thing. You have to buy one in the first place and transport it on a truck, and it requires days of preparation, if not weeks, and considerable looking after afterwards, guy ropes and whatever for the first several years. Such large transplanting jobs are not normally done with conifers, especially this particular type of conifer. That's not to say it couldn't be done, but if it costs $20,000 to $40,000 to do it to a large palm, I suggest to you it would be at least 10 times that amount for a conifer. So, as far as I'm concerned, this guy's done $250,000 to $500,000 damage to public assets here in Christchurch. I hope the council sues the backside off him and takes the cafe off him. That's a point actually. If you did want to transplant, to plant, the only way to replace this tree is to go and get one from nearby. It would be no good bringing one down from the North Island. The change of climate would be a huge stressor for it. You'd have to buy one from someone in this area, bring it. You'd probably have to buy that cafe anyway and demolish it, and then dig up half the road round where the pedestrian crossing is and that. Because you're going to need to take, the one you put in its place is going to need a very large root ball, and it will still need to be guyed, as in stabiliser wires, for 10 years or 20 years or goodness knows who, because they're very much an unknown. You just don't transplant large conifers. But if you want to replace that conifer, short of planting a young one and waiting another 100 years, just because in a matter of an hour or something someone went out there with a handsaw. There's pictures of that on the internet. I'll just pan around slowly this way. You can see there's another Norfolk pine, and pretty much looking in perfect condition. Obviously in this temperate climate they don't look their absolute best. If you see these growing in like New South Wales and places like that, and probably even the far north of the North Island, they often do just look better. But there are some that look almost perfect, certainly around the seafront of Christchurch's several suburbs. This is Sumner, but there's also of course Redcliffs, Brighton, sort of North Brighton, South Shore, and Taylor's Mistake. So, and Akara as well, although I think that they clobber a bit more of the southerly there, they tend to look a bit rougher. So here we go. That's what a 100-year-old pine tree looks like after someone's had a go at it with a handsaw for about an hour. So this is Catherine, your on-the-spot reporter, reporting the on the idiot who is the owner, apparently, of this building. And although he doesn't actually run the business himself, now I don't live in this area. I'm not likely to come to this particular cafe anyway, but I'm telling you now, I wouldn't piss on this place if it was on fire. So they've definitely lost any business they might have had from me if I come to visit. They seem to be doing a roaring trade though. I mean, 26 degrees today in Christchurch. Bit of a light wind there on and off. Actually, the wind's died down to nothing. It just seems to do that. And I'll just turn around slowly. This is Cave Rock. That's like a lighthouse. No, not a lighthouse. The lifeguards can keep watch up there. At certain times of the tide, you can walk through the rock. It's hollow inside. I think these are old volcanic rocks that got blown over a volcano about a zillion years ago. And there's tunnels all through that rock. You can walk through it. In fact, we might actually see if the tide's in a way that we can do that now, actually, and make another video of that one. And I'm actually standing in the shade of a Norfolk Island pine tree. And I think you'll find that as the Oricorias, and I'm probably fairly common with them actually, you tend to get either a male tree or a female tree, and occasionally they have bisexual trees. I know that when some plants do bisexual, it's actually a defective male. It's a male that has fertile flowers or something, but as opposed to a true bisexual, but they do give cones or seeds. So yeah, as far as I know, these are Norfolk Island pines. I'm actually not sure, but you might find that they are female and male on separate trees, and so obviously only the female trees bear cones with a wee nut in it that is edible. All of the Oricorian nuts are edible. Obviously some are bigger than others, so there's more of them to eat. Right, we'll get going. Okay, so here we are on, I'm guessing it's called the Esplanade, Sumner. And if I just go, that is the beach right there. See some steps and that, so, and so we literally are sort of 20 metres from, perhaps not the high tide mark, but the edge of the beach. Now here's one of these Norfolk Island pines, and this one, I'm just showing you this, it has been cut as required to allow, as you see in this area, it's not underground power, it is overhead power lines. So it's been cut as required to the minimum that's required, that makes both the electricity authority happy and is safe, that, you know, even allowing storm winds that blow the branches around a little bit, that they don't push onto the power lines. This video is intended to form one of several. Okay, so what you're looking at there is the top part of the trunk of a Trachycarpus fortunei. It was obviously taller than that, the Chinese windmill palm, and someone's hacked the top off it. Now, I couldn't really see it being damaged in a storm, such that it would need to be, anyway, as you, with most palms, if you cut the head off them, it's a bit like cutting the head off a human. They don't grow anymore, and it tends to be a bit fatal. Yeah, just curious. Anyway, I guess we'll never know why that was done. Okay, so it's around about 2:30 p.m. now, Saturday the 17th of February 2018. It looks like the tide's out quite a long way, so I think we'll call it low tide. We're standing here just on the beach, the edge of the beach. You just see a bit of a rock. I don't know what they call it. It's not a breakwater, thing that stops the water normally going further. Anyway, stabilisation, rockery, just before the road and things. So there we go. Looks like it's pretty much low tide. And this is Cave Rock. So we're going to go for a walk in Cave Rock. And a lovely day today, about 26 degrees. Obviously people, as well as visiting cafes buying stuff, there's people at the beach. So we're not deliberately trying to photobomb these people. I can't really tilt the camera up at more of an angle or get the sun. But as you see, the entrance is, might not be 10 metres high, be pretty close. As I say, I think these are old volcanic bits that got spat out a long time ago, so let's go for a walk in the cave. Hopefully the low light thing will work. Lots of people enjoying the cave today. It's just starting to get quite dark in here. It actually shows how good the low light capability of this camera is. And I can reach up and touch the ceiling there. So the ceiling there is what, about 6 or 7 feet high. Just, hello, I could, if I stand on tippy toes, not sure if I'm getting it, I could actually bang my head on the ceiling at that point, on tippy toes. And I do remember the sun, I've seen this before with little pools of water. I'm not sure if the tide only comes here at certain times of, you know, sort of king tides in spring or something. I think it does come right through here through most high tides. And looking out one way, obviously the auto iris doing its little thing. But we can go a bit further today, so let's go further. I certainly remember coming through here in the past, there's all pools of water. And I got a funny feeling at high tide you actually sort of can't go through it. And here we are at the end of it, getting closer to the sea. And there's the sea. That's something, a little rocky outcrop there. I don't know what that's called. Don't know if it's got a specific name. But just slowly move around, and then and one that's nearer to us. And just over there, there's another one. And I think that's about it. Might just try to get a view of the whole thing while trying not to fall off the rocks and break my leg. Ah, that's something that's a bit interesting. Got some kind of shellfishy things here, pippies or something. Well, that would indicate this does get, and the fact that the sand's as wet as anything indicates that, yeah, this is fully tidal. Gets wet every day, twice a day. So, just moving at a bit of an angle. Well, there's solar panels up there now. You can see at the, I'm not sure if that's what that structure's used for anymore. I thought it was a lifeguard lookout, but we came out a smaller entrance that is just out of view, just to the over there. This is the sort of other big entrance to the cave rock. And if we just get a view over there, the hillside. More wind here, I can hear it. And there's the sea over there. So it'll be over Brighton, South Shore, South Brighton, in that direction. But here we go, Cave Rock. And I will stop the video there. Okay, so this is Cave Rock going through the other way. As you see, this initial entrance vestibule is sort of 7 or 8 metres high. And again, we've got some seaweed there. Looks like a lot of shells over there. We'll just move back over slowly and look at those shells. So now this is strange. I'm not sure if the camera's picking this up. It's a kind of an orangey red colour going through that rock in a sort of a diagonal line. Well, orange and red normally indicates iron, doesn't it? I see it actually, and again, I'm not sure if the camera's picking this up. It comes in like a semicircle over there. So yeah, that's a bit curious, that one. But let's go back through the other way. This bit's barely more than 2 metres high. Back through the low bit again. Out in this big open area. Big opening at this end. And the auto iris will be doing its thing again. We'll just move around. Just try to get some detail of that rock. And there's a really big crack through there. I wonder if that's going to break off sometime. And we're out. And that's the road just there.
So that's it, all this way out here, just to walk on the beach with the thighs on the side.
Do you want more? Let's walk over there.
Here's another few seconds of video that just shows there the Trachycarpus fortunei trunk that's been cut through. Cut the head off it basically. For what reason, we don't know. Maybe it was storm damaged or diseased. Just don't know. That said, I have seen footage from Canada which suggests that freeze damaged crowns, if they're cut off cleanly, can actually regrow, which I would not have believed, but I've seen it on a video where they were cutting them in Canada after freezing damage, somewhere in the Vancouver area. I don't know if they ever subsequently recovered. It would be nice to see a follow-up video on that to show that it did regrow a new crown. That's a tuft of leaves at the top. Anyway, that's all for now. Catherine, over and out. So we're just standing on what I guess is the Esplanade. It's the road nearest the beach, and the beach is just on the other side of that little low wall. I'm just getting this one. It's a nice picture here of a Norfolk Pine. It's not absolutely perfect. It's not as strictly layered as some. In fact, it's a slightly scruffier specimen. They do vary a bit from one to the other. Looks like there's a one of those hot sausage smoking places. A food van thing there, and this sort of shows a typical the triangular form as they go lower and lower. So that was what I was sort of trying to get with this shot. Okay, so here we are on the Esplanade again. These are some somewhat younger Norfolk Island pine trees. You can see they're already quite tall, but they're very skinny. They, especially as I head towards the top there, they're very skinny. The trunk builds thickness as it ages, I'm guessing. Well, obviously. So you see this lovely, they're very open, much more open, and a more regular habit with the branches there. So a good view there. We've got three there. We've got the two more closer ones. We've got the one more at the rear. They come complete with skateboarders, so that's always good to know. And that is either, I think it's a Mexican palm actually. I think let's just keep the camera rolling while we walk slowly up towards that one. yeah, that's a Washingtonia. It could be a Robusta, or it could be a cross with a Phylifera. They tend to be, they hybridise easily. The Phylliferas, which means thread, is the one with the really big thick trunk. That's the way to remember it. The one with the name that means thread, thin thread, Phylifera, whatever, filament. I guess that's where words come from. So yeah, it's a Mexican or American cotton palm there, and that looks like a little seedling of the same below it. Given these are self-fertile palm, it could indeed be one of its own seedlings. But yeah, that's looking good. They've even got a somewhat palm tree, or at the very least cabbage tree or yucca looking detail on the gate. I'm not quite sure if that detail is coming out in the camera, but it's someone's made them a little thing there for the gate, or they've made it themselves. So that's quite cute, that is.